Just before we start this Fearless Singer podcast episode with the amazing Emma Dean, I would like to pay my respects, well, we would both like to pay our respects to the traditional custodians of the lands and seas and skies in which we operate on. In our case, it's the Yagara and the Turrbal people, and paying our respects to both past, present and emerging, and also pay our respects to wherever you're tuning in today, the lands and seas and skies, paying our respects to the traditional custodians of those for you. And I'd just like to also welcome the most incredible human being, Emma Dean, to the podcast. I just love her so much.
Well, I love you, Mel.
Thank you. And just so everyone knows, this will be a bit of a love fest, but we are going to be tackling a very important conversation. But for those of you who are new to Emma and her world, so Emma Dean is a multifaceted musician, performer and creativity coach based in Meanjin, otherwise known as Brisbane, Australia. With a diverse skill set encompassing songwriting, arranging music for choirs, composing original works of art, Emma is also known for her passion for inspiring collaborations and fostering community through music, which I think you're a genius at. As the founder of the renowned community choir Cheap Trill, Emma has dedicated herself to using music as a powerful tool for cultivating connection and positivity. With over 20 years of experience in the industry, Emma brings a wealth of knowledge and expertise to her role as a creativity coach and music educator. Whether she's guiding individuals through transformative creative projects or helping them implement healing creative practices, Emma's mission is very, very clear, and that is to spark creativity, confidence, and magic in the lives of those she works with. And I just want to add another C word to that. I hope no one's like, oh, things are going to get a little bit serious here. Well, you do have charisma, uniqueness, nerve, and talent.
Thank
you, as RuPaul likes to say. But also, I feel like what you do beautifully, because I've had a creative coaching session a few times with you, and that is you help spark that curiosity. You know, when things come up in people's practices and their lives, you have a lovely way of saying, now, that's an interesting thing to sit with and question. You know, let me help you follow a thread with that, which is really beautiful. So that's a bit of feedback for you.
Oh my gosh, you've just filled me with such love and joy just from that intro. And you wrote that bio, didn't you?
Yes.
I might have to steal it because it's really good. Thank you.
You're always welcome. I love writing people's bios. Just putting it out there. If anyone needs help with their bios, just give me a few dot points. I'm not going to lie, it's a combined effort between me and ChatGPT. We're colleagues. We're writing partners.
Oh yes, I forgot about that.
Yeah,
Yes.
ChatGPT is like my work colleague. I go, hey, how does this sound? Does this sound okay? Is it a bit clunky? And it goes, sure, I can make it less clunky. And then it goes, spit something out, and I go, oh, it's close, but then I go and tweak it, you know. And it's nice because you feel like you've got someone you're collaborating with.
It's a really beautiful relationship you're fostering there. I approve.
If I could take ChatGPT out for coffee, I would.
Yeah. Ooh.
Yeah, no, who knows where that could lead.
Could lead anywhere. Wow.
Maybe we can create AI boyfriends one day.
Yeah.
Or girlfriends. Yeah.
I don't think it's that far away.
No.
Which is a scary thought.
No, it's true.
Yeah.
Anyhow, but we were actually here to talk about creativity and how to keep the spark and the magic, especially during these crunchy times, because we are collectively seeing a lot of trauma, you know, around the world and in this country as well. And, you know, it's been quite a crunchy it's been a crunchy couple of years, really, and it's all kind of coming to a head. So it's just how do we stay curious and how do we stay sparkly when your heart's a little bit sad because of what you're seeing?
That's right. I mean, what a great question to talk about. And I think, you know, the world has probably always been really crunchy, and has always gone through big periods of crunchiness and heartache. But now with social media, it's just in our face constantly. And that's a great way to be kept up to date and informed. But I also think it can add to just, this collective kind of trauma that people are kind of carrying, because terrible things are constantly in our feeds. And yeah, and it's really difficult. Like, it's really, really challenging times for so many people. And so how do you kind of keep the sparkle or the creative curiosity alive? It's interesting because I've had a few of my friends and family who are very creative people say to me, I just don't feel right about sharing my art on social media right now. It feels frivolous. It feels like it's almost like it's insensitive. And I totally get that. But I also think that it is what the world needs as well. The light and the shade, I think we need that balance. And what a shame it would be if we were so bogged down by the trauma and the heartache in the world that we stopped creating altogether. I kind of feel like at these times, this is what we need most of all. And our art doesn't always have to be informed by political situations or war or violence or heavy themes. It doesn't always have to be about that stuff for it to be meaningful. There is just as much call and need for light and joyful and happy and sparkly art as well. Art that addresses the full range of human emotion. So I haven't really answered your question as to how to go about remaining like creative, but I think you hit the nail on the head when you talked about curiosity. How can we as artists ask questions, kind of dig deep into various things that are happening in the world, and then transform those things into something tangible or beautiful or ugly or whatever it may be, as a way of almost trying to make sense, of things that are happening. I think we are all designed to kind of do that, and it's our birthright to be creative. I really believe that. I think we are all creative, and it is a form of therapy, and it is a necessity. And it's a way of finding community. It's a way of expressing. So that didn't answer your question, but maybe it danced around it.
But the thing is, I think it's one of those things where, depending on individuals, there will be many answers to that question. Do you know what I mean? So I think I think you answered it beautifully, actually. And you also mentioned a few really important points in that you said the words therapy, that there is an element of healing to creativity. We know singing is regulating for the nervous system. We know that singing in groups helps that feeling of connection and community because of a hormone that's released, which is I'm thinking is the oxytocin. Oxytocin is the bonding, the bonding chemical. So you did nail it. I think it's starting to see, actually we need our art more than ever right now to make sense of what is happening, and also to keep our systems regulated, because we are being bombarded with so much, you know, of course, you know, we're walking around like little shocked shells, you know, of human beings. So, you know,
Right.
and I mentioned this the other night actually in the I have a membership and I do a class every Monday night, and that I think as our role as creatives, but I feel like this is our role of as humans, is to keep coming back into that, you know, regulated state as much as we can, because we can operate in a way more grounded, centered way from this state, you know?
Absolutely. I think that is, yeah, it's so, so true. And I think art and creativity, like you said, for everyone is very different. For some people, creating is a form of meditation. For some people, creating, and when I say creating, I'm talking about a very broad, set of whatever activities. I'm thinking about, you know, creating music. I'm thinking about cooking, thinking about choosing the clothes you wear. I'm thinking about how you wear your hair. I'm thinking about listening. Listening is being creative. How you curate your playlist on Spotify, that's creative, So I'm thinking about a really broad range of things. So for some people, like I said, it might be meditative. It might be a way of releasing rage, a way of releasing anger. Some people it's a way of processing, and some people it's about finding joy and connecting to self. But whatever it is, it's important that you allow yourself to explore it. Even though at these times when we're being bombarded with really shocking stories, you might feel like it's not the right time, or it's or that your instinct to kind of do something, maybe it's like, I've just watched the news and all I want to do is bake this cake. And you might be questioning, like, why? That's so like petty. Why do I want to? But go with it for whatever reason. You need to bake that cake. You need to do something with your hands. You need to take your mind off things. You need to get in a flow state. You need to do that. Do it. Try not to kind of question too much.
That's right. You mentioned also doing things with your hands. Apparently, there's data around that tactileness that takes you out of the fight, flight, fawn response, you know, and gets you into flow. So, you know, and even putting your hands in dirt, doing some gardening, that kind of thing. And speaking of dirt, I was just thinking when you're saying that, it's interesting how our first initial reaction is guilt. You know, there are all these people that out there right now who are having a horrific time. You know, how dare I have any kind of experience of calmness and joy? The alternative, though, is, well, what do we do? Do we just go and dig a hole and bury ourselves in it? You know, how then are we going to be able to be supportive fellow humans in this experience? How can we hold space for others who are going through this hard time? How can we advocate for others? And when we so you know, staying healthy is a way to do that as much as we can, and creativity helps us.
That's so true, Mel. I think it's that old, you put your life mask on before putting the life mask on of your child or your, the person sitting next to you or whatever. And it is true. It's we have to look after ourselves. We have to, because that's how we are able to help others and how we are able to kind of step forth into the world as the best versions of ourselves. And I really am a believer that creativity has a huge role in that. I really am. And, at the moment, you talk about guilt. I'm in this really strange season of my life, this beautiful season of my life, but a really different season where I'm, juggling working and being creative and parenting like 17-month-old twins. And you know, those days when I go, I actually really need to prioritize writing this song for half an hour. I just need to get to be creative. There's a sense of real guilt there. And I listen to it and I'm like, okay, why are you feeling guilty? And I have to always go back to, hang on, I need to kind of fill my cup enough to be as robust as I possibly can, to be the best parent that I can, to be creative with my kids, to show them, you know, what it looks like to sparkle. And yeah, this guilt thing, and maybe particularly for women, I think, is a big deal. Like, I go back to, you know, what I said about people who are close to me really feeling like, I just don't want to post my poem on Instagram because it just feels too frivolous, you know. And it does, it's that guilt. It's the guilt factor. So how do you deal with that?
The guilt.
Am I allowed to ask you a question?
Yes.
Like, do you ever feel guilty?
No.
Do you ever feel guilty prioritizing your creativity?
It's interesting how you're talking about feeling guilty as a mother, but I feel that way about my cat.
You are a mum. That's I'm her mum as well, and I get it. I feel super guilty about Charlie not walking him enough at the moment. Like, it's
the
real.
same. So because a lot of this year is particularly intense for me in terms of workload and juggling a lot of different projects and things. Also, I've got quite a big coaching load with my one-on-one members, which is Monday to Wednesday, so it's jam-packed. And then Thursday usually is a bit of recovery, followed by, you know, doing more, you know, content and getting podcasts made, you know, that kind of thing. And I just feel like I'm always sort of sitting at my computer, and there is a guilt that comes up around my cat that always seems to look depressed, but I think I am projecting onto him. But I think, oh no, he's not being stimulated enough, even though I've bought such ridiculous things. Like, there's a bloody 5-foot pole in my living room. It looks like a stripper's pole, but no, it's a cat. It's a cat pole.
On Instagram, yeah.
And you know, and then I take him out for little walks on his lead and stuff like that. And you know, we occasionally have to run away from scary-looking men in my neighbourhood. Anyway, that's a little bit of ginger thrown in there. And yeah, so I do feel guilt around that, and also too, I feel guilt around. Sometimes I feel a little bit of guilt around. I just never, like, I think one of my underlying beliefs that I need to work on is just this belief of not being enough. And that's why I do operate at, you know, 110% sometimes, because I just don't think, you know, always don't think I'm doing enough, you know. So if I'm doing something like just sitting and relaxing on the piano, which is actually, funny enough, I find way more relaxing than singing at this point in time, because singing is so integral to my core business. Even though I advocate for, you know, why don't we sing? It's healing. Yeah. Although I do, you know, obviously I love to sing, but I find piano, you know, it's just relaxing. I don't have to overuse the vocal muscles. Yeah. But then when I'm doing it, I get guilty, because I think I should be organizing charts, or I should be organizing this, or doing this and this. But then I have to remind myself, but mate, you've been working for about pretty straight solid 6 hours today. Yeah. You can give yourself this little tiny break. So I do get it, and then I coach myself through it. And and if I'm going to be honest with you, sometimes I'm not 100% successful with that coaching. I still carry a bit of, you know, anxiety in my body, and it lingers from time to time. But it's just one of those things. We're big onions, and we're just constantly peeling away layers.
Oh, we really are. And I mean, you bring up such a good thing in that there's this whole other type of guilt that comes from, you know, having a creative business, and then like creating for pleasure as well, like, and feeling guilty about that. And I think it's so interesting because when I think about when I was little and why I started creating, and I dare say it's probably very similar to why you started creating and why you started singing and dancing and, you know, doing whatever we did. It was because it made me happy. Like, it made me happy. It made me feel really connected. I didn't understand this at the time. Like, I didn't analyze any of it. It made me connect with the kids in the neighborhood. So there was like this sense of community because we used to like make up dances and do like very I think I've told you about this before, very interactive like theatre experiences where I'd put on skates and take mum and dad like through the street as I'm acting and skating, and like they'd be running after me like, oh God. Like,
So cute.
oh God, so funny. But, you know, it was such a joyful thing. And then, of course, you know, I'm so blessed to make, you know, that my career. Like, I'm able to run a community choir. I'm able to teach people. I'm able to perform myself. And that's my career. That's my job. But it also does make it really difficult to find the space and the time to create just for the pure pleasure of it. And I think we need to do that more. You know?
And not feel the need to go, oh, put the camera on and film it so it becomes content, you know, like that kind
exactly.
of thing as well. It's like, oh no, just need a break from all of that for a bit.
And that, you know, we talk, you know, going back to this sparkle like theme, and I think for me, and I'd love to ask you the same question, but for me, when I feel my most sparkly, is when I'm playing like a child. And it's when I'm in the room, there's no cameras, and I'm usually with other people, and I might be wiggling my hands going, oh, you know, and other people are using their voice and their body to kind of create something, and we're creating magic together, and it's so fun. And I'm being a total dickhead, and it doesn't matter, and that is like you can see it now in my face. Like, I am sparkling because it's so much fun, and we can get so weighed down by the admin and the what's going on in the world and everything, and that's all, you know, very valid. But I think I you know, for those listening, take a little moment to think about, like, what are the things that really give you joy and make you sparkle, and maybe take yourself back to what it felt like as a child. Maybe you were playing with paints, or maybe you're in the garden, or maybe you're baking with your mum or dad or your carer or whatever, and have a little, just kind of go back and ask that question. Can I ask that question of you, Mel? Like, what is it that makes you really sparkle?
I think you and I are really similar. I think you and I really love an audience, you know, but it's like like we're all collaborating.
Yeah,
I didn't mean that as a like a look at me like no, that, but it's like more of a, like, when you're like together and you're just, we're each other's audience, and we're all kind of sparkling, and we're creating. So yeah, definitely, because the same as you, would put on little concerts with my cousins, and, you know, and I'd come out, because I was always, you know, and I'm not saying this in any disrespect to my body, but, you know, I was a very, very cute, chubby child. So just think, this beautiful puffy white with this long black hair, these little stumpy legs, and really wanted to look like the older girls, you know, with the little tights and things on, and didn't quite look the part in the leotard and stuff like that, but would come out, and, you know, the adults and the kids would be just roaring with laughter, but it was never in a mean way. It was always in this very, like, you know, it was very comical. And I think it's interesting, you know, because we have spoken about body stuff before, and but there was a big part of that was part of the comedy, you know, and I was very accepted in my family, you know, this, oh, Lissy, oh, little, you little devil, you little cutie, and you know,
Oh,
too tight leotard trying to make us all laugh and dance. So that, and then, you know, just the same thing, just, yeah, I love to play. My best friend and I, Amy Zuffer, if you ever anyone wants to look her up, she's Spoonie Joe on Instagram. But
Spoonie Joe, I've listened to your
Spoonie
podcast.
Joe, yeah. So she, I think she's been an integral part in my adulthood, getting that childlike quality
Yeah,
back. You know, that sense of play. I think for a long time, I went down more of a corporate route before I studied music, and came back to music, but even then took it all way too seriously, I think, you know. And I think Amy really brought out the play again, and it started with actually just mucking around with colors and paints.
beautiful.
I've always maintained that I can't. She's a fantastic artist, so I can't draw. And she's like, yes, you can, mate. Just go on, give it a go. And then whatever you did, she would just say, oh, that's amazing. Like, you know, like she'd always tell you how good you were, even though, like, you know, I'd go, oh, I think that's pretty shit. But anyway, but she'd be like, no, it's not. You're too hard on yourself. And, you know, and I think her very special superpower of making people really feel accepted, you know, and she'd just absolutely just shower you with that warmth and love. I think that rubbed off with me, you know, so I was able to give that to myself, and then now I'm able to do that in the capacity as a coach with Fearless Singer. And I have to say something to you too, Em. I think you share that superpower as well. I think you've got that. You make everyone feel like I feel like you help us see our sparkle, you know.
Oh,
You know, and
that's really, thank you. Thank you so much for saying that. When you were talking about Spoonie Joe, who like I said, I've listened to your podcast with Amy, and I loved it. And I love her art because I've seen the t-shirts, and just so cool. You know, and you talking about this beautiful ability that she has to kind of make people feel I guess seen and accepted and nurtured in their creativity. And I was about to say, like, oh my God, that's exactly what you have. You absolutely have that. And I know we've touched on this before in past conversations, but I wonder if a part of that is that at some point in our life, we maybe haven't felt that way. And so there's this kind of, I don't know, when people come to my choir as an example, and I can kind of sense, oh, you know, they might be feeling a little uneasy, or they might be feeling like, oh, I can't sing, I can't do this. I just know how that feels. I know that feeling of like walking into a space and not, you know, and not feeling like I'm good enough or like that I belong. So I can identify that. I know how it feels, and therefore have, I guess, a way, and I don't even really know what it is. I've got a few ideas, but of making people kind of hopefully feel empowered and helping them to shine, really. And the older I get, and I've been doing a lot of self reflection in the last few months, because, you know, there's this my life has changed so dramatically. The speed in which I can work has changed so dramatically. And there's this question mark, like, am I going to continue this kind of performance trajectory? What are my dreams there? And I love performing. Oh, I love it. But the thing that really lights me up and makes me sparkle, if I'm allowed to say, I feel like I sparkle, is shining the spotlight on other people. It's really like that's like the greatest gift and the greatest joy in my life is, yes, I am writing arrangements for my choir. Yes, I am writing music, and I'd love to do that more, writing music for other people to sing and for, you know, but kind of going, here, let's play with this. I've written this. Let's have a play. Let's da-da-da. And now the spotlight's on you. Shine, baby. Shine. Like that. Oh,
I
that
love
is,
that.
it just,
You are so that. Oh my gosh. I saw you recently at the junk bar, and I was just, I just look. Sorry, I hope this doesn't all just sound like a massive big love bomb session, but no, I did. I was so inspired by you. You just operate on a different level. It is if I dare say it, it's like a magical realm. It's like you're in this beautiful little esoteric bubble, and you're like Glenda from the Wizard of Oz. And you actually did look like Glenda that night. You had this beautiful pink dress on with the little red, yeah. What is that? What is that type of stitching? It's very Greek. It's
It is, isn't it? But
yeah.
I do not know. But I know, yes, you're right.
And then I've seen, and so it was very inspiring to watch, yeah, it's interesting because a lot of the times, I'm very appreciative of people's performances, and I love it. I sometimes sit and I don't know, like my mind will tend to sort of drift to things I need to do and stuff like that.
Yes.
And that's not in any way because of them. It's, but yeah, that particular night that I went, I was just so tired. I wasn't even functioning. And I was even to a point where I was like, oh, I just stay home.
Yeah.
But it's one of those moments where I'm glad I went against my, those feelings, because I came back with renewed energy. And just really inspired. You took us on a journey the whole way, and then I've seen you shine, obviously, in that capacity. But I've also seen you shine playing piano or violin for other artists, And then of course seeing you in your role at Cheap Trill and your amazing brother as well. You both are just earth angels. So yeah, it's interesting how we can all shine collectively, it's in these different roles. You don't always have to be right in the center.
No way. For me, and I totally, there's nothing wrong with that. Like being right in the center of the spotlight. That's fabulous.
Meaning we can all shine. It doesn't matter if you're in the center or you're back playing the piano or you're doing the sound, for the, we're all in it together. We're part of the ecosystem that's creating this beautiful experience for other people. And the audience themselves, are part of it as well. Yeah.
If you bring them in.
Yeah.
And if they are willing. But I also think that, it kind of comes down to asking yourself, like, again, coming back to the question, like, what makes you happy? Because you're going to hear throughout your life so many people's opinions about what you should be doing, for so long, like, Emma, you're really good at this. You should be doing this. I don't know why you're not famous, and da-da-da. And so you think, I should be famous. Why aren't I famous? I've got to do this thing, and I've got to, and then you don't even stop or pause to like ask yourself, do I want that life? Or do I want to be, touring 8 months of the year? Do I actually want those things? And for me, the answer is actually no. I definitely don't. But it took me like a really, really long time to actually give myself permission to answer properly. It's not saying I don't want to be successful or respected, but I don't want to be Taylor Swift. I don't want to be like, and that's not the only form of like success either. A lot of people might think it is, but it's not. It's not. So this idea of like tuning into your inner sparkle and kind of taking note of the voices and the suggestions and the, cool. Okay. Oh, that sounds really good. Actually, that's really exciting. And I'm curious about that. I'm going to go, down that path. Great. And then, you don't even stop or pause to like ask yourself, do I want that life? Or do I want to be, touring 8 months of the year? Do I actually want those things? And for me, the answer is actually no. I definitely don't. But it took me like a really, really long time to or like filter the advice out that doesn't resonate. It takes so much practice though, I think. You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I just did a comedy course on the weekend with Fiona McGarry,
I want to
and
hear all about this, Mel.
it's interesting because I think coming back to the guilt thing, after the tragic event on Saturday, it did feel like a massive
Yeah.
slap in the face with a big dick kind of ironic moment that you're now going to a comedy course, and meanwhile you just literally want to convulse, scream and cry.
Yeah.
But yeah, I go off on a tangent. Fiona mentioned that, you're talking about the different advice from different people, but also our full-time jobs as creatives is also to manage the feedback from our critical mind, and one of the things she said, and it's something I've heard you say before too, is to be able to just acknowledge it, just to go, oh, right, yeah, thanks for your feedback. Thanks for your feedback.
Yes.
So I guess that's what we can, if we start practicing with ourselves, then it'll make it much easier, to practice with those people around us as well that like to give their two bob, like to give their 2 cents.
So true. And I love that you have all. Sorry, yeah.
Oh no, I was just going to say the critical mind really essentially is there to protect us. It means well, and I think the majority of people, bar maybe an exception to the rule, mean well as well.
So true. I completely agree. People have generally very good intentions when they say these things. Absolutely. I love the advice that you just gave then, or the suggestion to practice responding to your inner critic as a way of getting used to responding to external criticisms or suggestions or whatever it may be. Because for me, it's like the other way. It's like my inner critic is always the last thing I practice, like having it, and it shouldn't be that way, of course, but it's like the hardest relationship for me. And I think what you just said is like so wonderful, that maybe start by practicing, like having a little conversation with your inner critic and your internal voice. To kind of, figure out how to.
I think I can relate to what you said too, Emma. It's some days are better than others. There's some days where that critical voice is really loud. Yeah. It's like a big, loud, hairy Greek. I'm also just talking about myself again.
I love this.
Yeah.
Oh, Mel.
She's got a big mouth.
She's got a big mouth.
She needs to wax her mustache. But then other days you can be quite, depending on what kind of sleep you got, how much water you drank, you can deal with her quite well, and then there's other days where you've drunk way too much coffee. You've stayed up all night having those half awake, half, asleep, types of nights. And then she's screaming in your ear. So,
Totally.
It's a journey. It's a journey.
It is. And it's never going away. Obviously, we know it's not going away. Like, that voice will always be there, but it's, we just need to practice that relationship, like any other relationship. We need to work on it and figure out how to communicate. I do anyway, that's for sure.
Me too. And I tell you what, I just want to also add that it helps to be able to talk to people like this about that, so having these conversations. I'm really blessed. I've got Amy, and then I've also got my beautiful Katarini. So Katarini, you've met her. Yeah. She's a music therapist, so she's my partner in Girl from Greece. And I've got you.
Oh, and you're so
Instagram voice messages.
Oh, it's the best, honestly, having people to bounce those thoughts around with, because sometimes all we're seeing is, it's kind of funny, it's social media, you know, you're either seeing the absolute horror stories and the trauma and the tragedy in the world, or you're seeing the show, like the, what's it called, the show reel, or the, you know, the highlight reel.
The highlight reel, yeah.
In people's life, and you're like, oh, what, it's hard to remember that these feelings we're talking about, these like self-doubts and things, are all very normal, you know, and sometimes we've just got to have like these real human conversations about it. And it makes the world of difference. I'm so grateful for our connection, Mel, and how we are able to talk just very authentically with each other.
Oh, vice versa. You've helped me a lot through the years, in particular, and actually it's something that we were going to talk about when we first, you know, decided we'll do another podcast episode, is this idea of, we both do very similar things, you know.
Yes.
And I was really worried because I have a workshop. I have a workshop on the 4th of May, a singing workshop, which also goes into mindset as well. And then you also have a workshop, but a series that you're also promoting at, you know, towards the end of the year. So when does it start? It's September. Yeah.
September.
And I like my system, I was like lying awake in bed going, oh no, I want to help Emma promote her workshop, and then I've got mine. And then you said, oh mate, come on, you know.
What?
I know, but that's it.
So beautiful though, like that.
Well, the idea of, but the thing is, you know, and it's interesting. It's an interesting thing because, you know, if it was the other way around, it wouldn't even enter my mind. It would just be the same thing. But this idea of, you know, taking away or impacting on negatively on someone else's project.
Oh my gosh.
But the reality is, and I know the truth, the overarching truth is that there's more than enough opportunities for all of us. You know, we can all coexist and we can all support each other, you know, as musicians, as creatives, as coaches. So do you want to talk on that for a little bit, that idea of we can all coexist and we can be part of this beautiful fabric, you know?
Absolutely. And just to put that into context, so Mel is a guest teacher at my workshop. And you were so beautiful, Mel, like just the way you approached it. I just want to be really transparent with you. I've got this workshop coming up and I'm going to, like, you were so beautiful and genuine. And like, I guess I was so taken aback by how thoughtful you had been in trying to figure out, how do I promote my workshop and also Emma's, and firstly, I think my response was like, promote your workshop. Like, my workshop is ages away, plus it's my responsibility to be promoting it, and like, you are just so generous with the way you share things. But and then we started discussing this idea that we do a similar thing, but we're also very different. And there's absolutely enough to go around, and we are big believers, I think, both you and I, in celebrating particularly women who are doing great things in the industry, and men, of course, and people. But I think maybe both of us, and I won't speak for you, but certainly for me, I've had experiences where I felt very torn down by people within the industry. And that's really been very scarring. And so you kind of, for a period, you think, and people tell you, don't, hold that one close to your chest, Emma. Keep that one close to your chest. You don't want to be letting that idea out because that person might steal it, or like, don't be promoting that person because that they might kind of get really big and And it's like, what? This is crazy. This is no way to live. This is terrible. I want to be like applauding and celebrating people who I genuinely think are doing wonderful things. And I hope that that's what people will do for me. I'm very lucky to have reached this. You know, I'm 40 now, and I have this really beautiful collection of female friends, all like not like a little group, all kind of very spread out, who we just lift each other up. I've got my 4 Rainbow Bop ladies, who Rainbow Bop is a kids project that I'm the music director of, and we all celebrate each other, and it's just wonderful. I have you, Mel. I have Sam Buckingham. I have a wonderful artist called Jenna Robertson, and I have a bunch of other people, and we just, yeah, we just lift each other up, and it's those people I feel like I can really turn to and say, hey, this great thing happened. Can I share it with you? And they're going to bloody be there and like have a little pop the champagne, you know? And
I have to say that, you know, I guess your success is my success. I take it, I live vicariously through all my mates. Like I just honestly, yeah, you say that when you said that, because you're doing such marvelous things, you've got some really cool projects on the go. The Rainbow Bop, you know, you've got your creative coaching business. And by the way, we'll talk a little bit more about it at the end, but Emma's got a wonderful series called The Creative Colonic. It's so good, and we'll talk more about what that is. But also, Emma's also going on tour at the end of the year with one of my other, I love her to bits. She's so inspirational to me, is Sam Buckingham. And so when I saw that you were doing that, it was like I was going on tour with Sam Buckingham. You know, it's like I get so excited, you know, and so happy, you know.
That's right.
That seeing not even just my mates succeed. I get excited seeing anyone really, you know.
That is so beautiful.
Yeah.
I just want to have a moment here to also just address that I do definitely still get FOMO.
I think that's part of being human. And also too, the thing I would also say to that is, you know, like, you know, what kind of sleep did you have? How many cups of coffee did you have? There could be also like a lot of physical things that have led up to that, and also, you know, or what's happening. It might not be just, you know, there's always a bigger reason for it. It's never, it's not a jealous kind of, you know, I wish I was doing that instead of that person. Or actually, that's not even a bad thing either. It's like data. It's like saying, you're going, I want that.
I really want that. Yeah, absolutely. And it's what you do with those feelings anyway, you know. Having them is very human. Like you said, it's a very human thing to kind of have the FOMO, have the little pangs of jealousy and go, I wish it was me, you know. But it's what you do with it then. I think that really matters. Are you going to kind of not talk to that person, or are you going to like make sure you never share any of their work because you know, or are you going to kind of go, I wish I was doing that. Well, good for them. That's freaking awesome, you know. And but again, all of this stuff takes practice. And am I perfect at it? Hell no way.
No, that's it. It is. It is a daily practice, isn't it? It's you know, goalposts change. We're forever just, you know, you think well, it's interesting. I've just been going throughout, you know, all the Mercury retrogrades and the eclipses going, it doesn't really impact on me. You know, Mercury retrograde, whatever, that doesn't apply to me. This last eclipse, I'm like, yuck! I didn't know that about myself. You know, that kind of thing. Or things have come up and you're just like, but it's been like, it's so painful. I'm not going to go into details, but at the same time, so needed. It's like, thank you. Thank you for this bit of a purge. And it's given me the data that I need to be curious, to go, okay, why did that happen? You know, asking those questions. What is it that I actually want? Who do I want to be? you come back to those fundamentals. So I think
Absolutely.
it's, when these things come up that we see the shady side of ourselves, the shadow,
Mm.
part of that integration is just going, oh, hello, oh, yeah, I can see you.
Yeah.
What do you want?
Yeah. What do
You
you
know,
want?
oh,
What do you want?
what do you want? Oh, yeah, great. Okay. All right. Now I see, I hear. I love you. That kind of thing.
Yes.
So we're not just like
So true.
these walking Pollyannas because that would make us pretty bloody boring. No offense to Pollyannas out there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Boring.
Yeah.
Oh my
Uh,
gosh.
and also, too, just from coming back to the comedy, you got to have something naughty to talk about.
You do. You need material.
You need
You need
material.
material.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Oh, there's so many questions I want to ask you, Mel, but yeah,
Do we have
I
do
won't.
we have
No, I
time?
think
No.
they're personal questions actually, so
Oh,
I won't ask them now.
okay, that's all right. We
Pleasure.
can we can save it for later.
Yeah.
Can we please talk about the creative colonic? Creative
Yes.
colonic. It's a great
Yes.
soft palette exercise. Creative colonic. Creative colonic. Creative colonic.
It is, yeah, it's lovely.
You can do that on like a little 5-note scale.
I thought you were going to say for a second it's a soft stool exercise because we're talking about a colonic and
Well, a raised
soft
soft palate would do something. It does that. It raises the pelvic floor, which would help with a soft
with
stool.
the
Yeah.
there you go. Oh dear.
There
Okay,
you
so
go. You learn some singing technique and singing and shitting technique.
oh my God. And so much more. So we are going to be, so the Creativity Colonic, we've got 3 dates. The 14th of September is called Discover Your Creative Voice. And I'm working with a really beautiful yoga teacher called Chrissy McMorrow, who is a wonderful friend of mine and my yoga teacher. She's also a breathwork teacher. She does and voice work, and she does a range of amazing delicious practices that we're going to be doing on the day in the morning. And then we're going to just delve into the world of creative play. So, and that will be not just music. It might be a bit of art, might be some writing, some creative writing, and all sorts of things. It's going to be just a lot of fun, a bit like a sort of playground situation. So that's the 14th of September. On the 28th of September is the Joy of Singing with Mel Lathouras. So Mel is going to be my very special guest coach, and she'll be teaching all of the wonderful things she knows about using your voice, about singing, about performing, about mindset, and delving into that. And then what I plan on doing is some small group singing work. A lot of people have expressed interest in small group harmony singing, but as well as getting feedback on their solo voices as well, if that is something that they're interested in. So it'll be a beautiful full day of singing. And then on the, oh my gosh, I've forgotten the date. I think it's the 19th of October.
Do you want me to quickly? I'll just have a quick.
Oh yeah, I'll talk about
you
it.
You keep talking, and I'll confirm.
Sorry, everyone. And then so the final one is workshop number 3, which is songwriting, and that's just with me. And I've got a beautiful group signed up already for some songwriting, and lots of people have expressed interest in group songwriting. Some people want to songwrite by themselves, and we'll be talking about different techniques, lyric writing, melody, harmony, form. Some fun exercises to kind of get you started and in that creative zone. And all of these workshops will be at my home in Sandgate. They come with a beautiful cooked lunch.
I'm really also very excited about that bit.
Oh yeah, my mum's gonna be in the kitchen cooking up a storm. She's a wonderful cook. And lots of kind of salads and yummy veggie kind of options, and And yeah, it'll be great.
It's going to be beautiful. Yeah, so it is so the 19th of October. So they're all Saturdays. Yeah. And so if you want to also find out more details about that, just go to emmadean.com.
Yes.
If you go to Emma Dean Music on Instagram, Emma has a link in her profile that you can go to. But also too, just never be afraid to reach out to either of us for information.
Please.
We love a good old chat, don't we?
Absolutely. I'm so happy to answer any questions about the workshops, and they're suited to people who have had. Well, the workshop number 1 and workshop number 3 in particular are suited to people who have had absolutely no experience, and up to people who are very experienced. So it's a broad range. Workshop number 2, you just need to be comfortable with people hearing your voice really in a small setting, but you don't have to have any experience, but just to know that you will be singing and people will hear you, and to be comfortable with that.
We'll be creating a really nurturing space.
Oh my gosh.
If there is you do have that desire, you go, but I still don't feel like I'm ready. Just know that you'll be nurtured. You'll feel the warmth. And I was just going to say too, just to get an idea, you can actually get all 3 workshops together for $547. So one workshop is $227. If you want to do 2, it's $387, and you save $67. And for 3 workshops, it's $547. So that's probably the way to go. I'm definitely signing up for the. I'm going to check that September date, but I really want to do the songwriting workshop.
I would love to have you there.
That's my
Mel.
next kind of, come on, girl. You can do it.
That would be so much fun.
I'd love to work with you in that way.
Let's do it. Yeah. Yeah, me too. I'd love to work with you. No.
And if it's okay, I just want to quickly plug a few things as well.
So,
yes, if you could, please go also follow Emma on socials. So Emma Dean Music on Facebook as well as on Instagram. More details about the workshop at emmadean.com. That's DEAN, Emma, EMMA. Oh my gosh. EMMADEAN.com. Yes. I just want to quickly mention that tonight we have the Fearless Singers Showcase. So if at Seekers, can you keep a secret? And it'd be really nice if you are in the neighbourhood, you like to come in and support some beautiful, beautiful talent, do their thing, come in and hang out with us. It's a lovely space. And then on Sunday, the girl from Greece, we have our Saloni session. And Saloni actually in Greek means your good living room. And this actually, where I'm sitting, was my family's Saloni. And so it's very much about come to our you're our special guest, and let us shower you with Greek music. And so that's
beautiful.
That's at It's Still a Secret, and that's on Montague Road, so across the road from the milk factory. And we start at 2:00, and it'd be lovely to have. If you are around, please come and hang out with us. And then on the 4th of May, I've got a workshop called Her Voice. So it's very much for those who identify as female. And the only reason why, not to exclude anybody at all, it really is, I think, a powerful time for women. I think and female, those who identify as female and those who are non-binary as well, to find that inner voice, that strength, really, and to use it and to bring all our beautiful creativity to the surface, because as a way of service. And I think the time is now for all of us, to take up space. And so that workshop is really geared towards that. There is definitely going to be the straightforward technique work, but we'll be diving into those magical realms. And and so if you want that in May, and then come back in September, October, and come and reinforce all that beautiful knowledge in Emma's creative colonic as well. And every time I say colonic, you just burst into laughter.
I just laugh. I named it that, so.
And I love that your marketing graphic is a unicorn taking the ship.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's it. It's like
I
we're
think
giving.
you gave me the idea for that, though. Do you remember? I'm pretty sure you planted that seed.
Oh,
I do have a song about it. There is that as well, but I'm pretty
I
sure
love
you.
that song. Every time I promote you for anything, it's like, I am a fucking unicorn. I love it.
Oh my
It's
love.
one of my
You're very
favorites.
kind.
Yes. I just want to say, so Emma, I'll just click off. So you stay around. So don't go anywhere. Yeah, don't you go. But I just want to say, if you have joined us live, thank you so much for being part of this conversation. My apologies if you have left comments and we haven't seen. We've just been in our bubble, and so we'll go through and answer them now. If you've got any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to either of us. And yeah, and I just want to say massive thank you to you, Emma.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for asking me to do this. I always love chatting with you, Mel.
Oh, vice versa. I feel, yeah. And it's interesting, and I just want to put this out there. I was in a bit of a weird funk before, and now it's all left my body. So thank you. And that's the power of the connection, and that's why we, don't feel that guilt. I mean, the guilt will come up. So actually, not that don't feel it. Actually feel it, but then let it pass. We need each other. We need to show up to each other, for each other, and communicate and connect and create. It's part of our life force. So
I completely agree. Oh, Mel,
thank you so much. See you, everybody.
Mwah.